Hello and welcome to the lecture series on monetary economics. In the previous class, we have seen the distinction between commercial banks and cooperative banks in India. In today's class, I'll be talking about the types of cooperative banks in India. But first of all, let us look at some of the facts associated with cooperative banks in India and thereafter move towards the five-fold classification of cooperative banks in the Indian context. So as far as cooperative banks are concerned, they are small-sized units set up in semi-urban or urban areas catering to the finance needs or financial needs of small borrowers both in trade as well as in industry, and they are regulated by the Reserve Bank of India under the Banking Regulations Act of 1949 as well as the Banking Laws Cooperative Societies Act of 1965. So this is just an idea or the facts associated with cooperative banks in India. Given this thing, the cooperative banks can be subdivided or classified into five different types, and they are primary cooperative credit societies. Thereafter we have central cooperative banks. Thereafter we have the state cooperative banks. Furthermore, we have the land development banks for the medium and long term loans, and the urban cooperative banks. Now this is not there in the law per se, but we shall look at it as well. So let us now first look at the primary cooperative credit societies. Now this is association of both borrowers as well as non-borrowers at the grassroots level. Furthermore, their funds comes from A, the deposits, B, the share capital, and C, the loans or overdraft facilities from the central cooperative banks operating at the district level. Thereafter, they extend their loans for purposes with respect to agricultural activity and industry in the rural setup, meaning thereby to buy machinery, to buy fertilizers, to buy fodder, to buy cattle and all of that. So these are certain ways in which they extend loans and activities for which they extend loan. So I hope the idea of primary cooperative credit society as a type of cooperative bank is pretty much clear. Let us now move to the central cooperative bank. Now again, as far as the association is concerned, it is association or federation of the primary cooperative credit societies. So this is the first point of fact associated with or first point of explanation associated with the central cooperative banks, which are operating at the intermediate level or district level. Furthermore, their funds come from A, that is the deposits, B, the share capital obviously, and C, the funds or loans from the upper entity or the apex institution called as the state cooperative bank. So this is how they garner their funds, and therefore thereafter they lend their funds for different activities at both the semi-urban as well as the urban areas or district, to be very precise. Thereafter, at the top level or top notch, we have the state cooperative banks. Now these state cooperative banks are obviously the federation of central cooperative banks operating at the intermediate level at districts in the different states in our country. So it is a federation of that. Furthermore, it is the watchdog or apex institution in the three-tier structure in the cooperative banking structure in India. So this is again an important institution. Furthermore, it obtains its fund from share capital as well as deposits, and furthermore it borrows money, that is it gets loans and advances from the Reserve Bank of India. So this is how you can look at the state cooperative banks in the Indian context. So I hope the three-tier system is pretty much clear. At the apex you have the state cooperative banks, then we have at the intermediate level the central cooperative banks operating at the districts, and thereafter we have the primary cooperative credit societies operating at the grassroots level. So these are the three important aspects of short-term credit as far as cooperative banking for agricultural purpose in India is concerned. Thereafter we have land development banks. In my previous classes, when I talked about the structure of cooperative banking in India, I talked about the same, that is it is dealing with respect to medium term as well as long term loans for agricultural purposes. Now these land development banks are governed by state and the Reserve Bank of India. I mean state meaning thereby the state government as well as the Reserve Bank of India. Furthermore, they are supervised by NABARD, that is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. This particular entity, which is a specialized entity, supervises the functioning of land development banks in the Indian context. And an important aspect of land development bank is they are not allowed to take deposits from general public. So this is a very important fact as far as land development banks are concerned. and therefore a point of distinction between the erstwhile three or the three-tier system which we studied just now. So this is again an important type of cooperative banking which is particularly dedicated for which is particularly dedicated for the medium term as well as the long term loans. I hope this point is pretty much clear. Let us now move to urban cooperative banks. Now this is again not defined in the law per se, but any primary agricultural credit society, if at all it is operating at urban or semi-urban area or level, then they call it to be urban cooperative banks. Furthermore, they rely on deposits from members and non-members, that is the members and non-members of the primary agricultural credit society. Obviously it is operating at a semi-urban or urban area, that is why you see it or you term it as urban cooperative banks. Furthermore, the deposits, we have talked about the deposits. Furthermore, it furthermore it provides credit for both agricultural and non-agricultural purposes. It can be either in terms of, or it is for industry, trade, agriculture, all of these activities, entrepreneurial activities or productive activities happening at the semi-urban and urban levels. So this is how you can look at the five-fold classification of cooperative banking in India given the underlying facts with respect to the same. So I hope the idea is pretty much clear. Please stay tuned. Thank you.